Okay. Hi. Right. So yeah, just quickly go over some of the stuff I've had health problems with, right? Going back about 23 years ago, I had started getting heart problems. My dad started getting heart problems the year before. A year after he started getting heart problems, I started getting heart problems. Not a good sign. He's 26 years older than me, so on the other hand, it's like I've managed to more or less get rid of my heart problems. Everything's a lot better now. It's like 3 years later. The first thing I started using was garlic, raw garlic, to thin my blood. And I found that did really help. And then a few years later, I discovered hawthorn flowers. And hawthorn, they say, is like a food for your heart. And since then, I've found a few other things, and exercise, proper cardio exercise like high intensity interval training is really good. Certain other herbs seem to be good. Things like cordyceps, wild garlic. There's quite a lot of things. Certain vitamins are important. Vitamin B1, and then you can take coenzyme Q10 as well. That's pretty handy. That gives you energy, instant energy, so that you just feel like you're more stronger. So that helps with your heart as well. Anyway, that was like 23 years ago. I basically got, made a lot of progress since then with my heart. So that's not such a problem now. For the last 10 years, I've been getting problems with my throat, like probably throat cancer. There was like a while for about a few years, about 10 years ago to about 8 or 9 years ago, 8 or 6 years ago, that I used to get this pain in my throat, and it felt like a sort of needle prick, like a pin or a thorn was in there, and I'm pretty sure that is cancer. That's what cancer of the throat feels like, to start with. When it's in its early stages, you're getting it feels like a pinprick in your throat. There could have been several reasons for that. I remember my mum made me some fish one day, and it had a bone in there, and it's supposed to be like filleted. And I would never serve anyone fish with a bone in it, unless I was telling them it had bones in it, But if I said it was a fillet, I'd make sure the bones were out, Oh dear. So family scapegoating. No one else got a bone in their throat. No one in my house ever got a bone in their throat from eating fish from when my mum cooked it, except me. And there's like 4 other people, So it's subconsciously deliberate. Anyway, the other thing I had these tooth problems, and I had a whole spate of X-rays around, and it was very soon after that I started getting throat problems with this sort of sharp, like needle-like pain in my throat. That was 10 years ago. So I've been working on that as well, and after about 4 years of that, I started to make some progress with that. Hi, HRC. Yeah. About after 4 years, I started getting making progress. Things like dark chocolate, tomatoes, and raw cane sugar. Like it's called jaggery from India. That's really good as well. So anyway, occasionally it comes back, right? This throat thing, like it has in the last few days, it's come back. I felt this up, somewhere up here, near where my nose joins my mouth. There's this little area on the right side, and I can feel it just doesn't feel right. It's got this weird sort of painfulness, and it's like I'm thinking that's not good. That's not just like it's not like a sore throat. That is a bad sign. That's like cancer again. So I thought to myself, right, what am I going to do? I've been eating raw chocolate. I've been eating, because I can feel it now. It's come back again. what I was going to do, this was early on this afternoon. So I thought, what I'm going to do, I'll just go into the supermarket and okay, yeah, I've got some lemons anyway. I probably will drink some lemons. It's not a big deal, you know. It's not the big deal. HRC. I'm just making this video because I find what just happened to me is really interesting. So I went to the supermarket and with because I'm intuitive, you know, I just think, well, I need to go to the supermarket and buy some food because I've been trying other different types of food lately and something wasn't working. I stopped eating dairy. I stopped eating cheese for the last week, right? And you think cheese, you don't really think of it as a health food, do you? So anyway, right, so I got this cooked pork. It's not ham. It looks like ham. It's basically tastes like ham. It's like ham, but it's cooked pork. It's not cured. It's not like normal ham. It's got no preservatives in it. It's just cooked pork. And then this is the camembert, the unpasteurized camembert that we can get in the UK at the moment. It's near its use by date. Its use by date is the 31st of March. So what was it, the 26th today? So it's got 5 days left. It's quite smelly. This is a sort of cheese, right? That, you know, like everybody grew up with cheese triangles. You know, everyone grew up with cheese triangles. In Britain, the two brand names that I can remember are Dairy Lee and Laughing Cow. I don't know if you get these in the US. I'm sure you've got your own brand of little cheese triangles that all children love, you know. But the thing is, right, if you get a really good brie, a really like a proper brie, because I know you can't get them in the US, right? This is unpasteurized, and it smells a bit like cheesy feet. But when you put it in a sandwich, it tastes just like those cheese triangles, but it digests a lot better. So anyway, I made these like little sandwiches with crisp bread, with some of that unpasteurized cheese, the camembert, some cooked pork, a bit of lettuce, and some tinned tomatoes that I cooked down with olive oil, like cooked them into like a paste with olive oil, and it cooled down. So I just spread a bit of that on one side of these crisp breads, gluten-free crisp breads, and I had a couple of them. I still feel like some more. I might have a couple more. Oh, and I had that with port wine, some quite good quality port wine, which was on offer. Normally £12, so it was only £8 a bottle. And straight away after having it, I just the pain in my throat just disappeared, just went straight away. So it seems like, I mean, I've had it for it's been there bugging me for a few days, and I've tried all different sorts of food and stuff, but I just thought, no, I've got to have something like that's going to do the job. And I don't know why, because I'm not really thinking, I know what I'm going to go and buy. I just go to the supermarket because that's what my intuition says. Go to this particular supermarket, and I wander around. I see the cooked pork is normally £1.50. It's on offer for 62p instead. You know. So I thought, I'll give that a try. So it's all right until tomorrow. So I use it for a couple of days. I was going to buy some of this anyway the other day. It's right near its use by date. So its use by date is the 31st of March. So it's got 5 days. That's when you really want it. You want it when it's really close to its use by date. There are other ones in there that have got another 3 weeks left before they use by date. This is right near its use by date, so it's really nice and ripe. Really good source of vitamin K2. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. There's other things I was going to talk about on this video. if I can remember what they were. Yeah, cheese is good for your teeth and help you poop. Meh, maybe. Ah. So another thing about cheese and ham is that children, they've done experiments on children in somewhere in Europe, I think, to see what sort of food they would do best in at school. And children that had cheese and ham sandwiches for breakfast done better at school. Okay, there was some other. I'm just thinking there's some other things. I'm just going to hang on a minute because I've got a feeling I've got some other things to talk about. So I'm wondering if what it is with these smartphones. Are they addictive? Are they contagious? I think of what's it called? That film. The Time Machine. H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and how these people in the future are they're kind of like not real people anymore. You know, I don't like this technology. It's there's something wrong with it, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this is going to be one of those videos where I just sort of mumble on a bit, you know, because I feel like I had something to say. Oh yeah, Tom Bombadil. You know, what happened to Tom Bombadil? You know, no, it's not here. So I've been reading the first book of Lord of the Rings. It's called The Fellowship of the Rings, and I just thought to myself, I'm sure I watched Lord of the Rings, and there was no sign of Tom Bombadil at all. And of course, that's right. You know, I've done a little search on YouTube for Tom Bombadil, and he's not there. You know, people talk about him saying that, you know, that these are the deleted scenes from Lord of the Rings. But the person who recommended Lord of the Rings to me, first of all, their favourite character was Tom Bombadil. It's how the left brain works, you know. This is how the difference between the left brain and the right brain. The left brain is going to be all about the story, you know, what fits, what works with the story, make it down, reduce it down to its component parts, you know, and so you get the film Lord of the Rings, right? But the right brain is going to look at the really interesting stuff that doesn't necessarily easily fit into the story, but it's part of the story. It's part of the big picture, and it focuses on the other things. So the right brain person is going to focus on Tom Bombadil. That's their favorite part of the Lord of the Rings. So you look at Lord of the Rings and you think, if you're a right brain person, you think, well, what happened to Tom Bombadil? This is just like a war story. You know, it's like a bit of like a nightmare. There's no good stuff in here. Well, what happened to all the positive stuff? You know, and Goldberry, you know. It's all they've reduced it down to all the miserable stuff, you know, and they've edited out the good stuff, the sort of like what makes the whole book so great. You know, that's the first thing that happens more or less in the book. You meet Tom Bombadil, and it opens up this doorway, you know, and you think, this is a great book, you know, I have to read the whole series, you know. But if they kept the books without Tom Bombadil, it wouldn't have been a success. It would have been like just a stupid, crazy book, you know. But they took Tom Bombadil out of the story for the films because it didn't seem to bear a great deal of relevance to the story of, you know, like kind of the war and stuff, you know. So they thought, oh, it's a good place to edit it. But from my point of view, and as a right brain thinker, he's the main character in the book. He's at least on a par with Gandalf, you know. How they could miss him out of the it's what it is. It goes to it's like, oh, let's keep the 90% happy and ignore the 10% or the 5%, you know. That's what the media does, and that's why you end up with people like me. And that's why I make these videos, to sort of remind people, look, that there are other people, you know, who just see things totally different. We're looking at the big picture. The vast majority of you 90%, you've got tunnel vision. You know, you're staring down a tunnel all the time. You've got like a sort of one-track mind. You're not looking at the big picture. So, and that's where paradise is. It's like, I've had some really interesting dreams lately, and I won't talk about them. But I had a vision a long time ago where all the people were all walking around in this great big circle. It was like maybe 10 miles round, or maybe 5 or 10 miles in diameter. It was a big circle, and they were all like on horse and carts and just walking with carrying their like big backpacks and stuff. And they were going around in this circle, and I was walking around with them. This is how the vision went, or the dream, whatever. I was walking around with them, and I started looking around, and out the corner of my eye, I would notice somebody in the forest, like hiding behind a tree, you know, like a little person, you know. And so I started thinking. I thought, what's going on? We're all walking around in this great big circle. I didn't know it was a circle to start with. What I did was I went outside the circle, and I climbed up a tree, and then so I could see. And then I saw it was a big circle. All these people were going around in this big circle, like miles and miles long. And it was just one big circle, and it was like it all joined up, you know. And these people were just going round and round, like just totally crazy. And I tried talking to a few of them, and nobody would believe what I told them. You know, nobody would even go and look up the tree to see if it was really in a circle. You know, so I realised that these people were mad. And I started looking outside the circle, going into the woods, into the wild, and I noticed that people in the wild were not wasting all their energy slogging away like a hard grind, you know, like a rat race. But they were just doing okay, and they were quite happy. You know, they were thinner, they ate less food, but they were relaxed, and they were, you know, and happy and interesting. Whereas all the people in the circle, all traveling around this sort of big round road, were all sort of miserable and worn out and tired and grumpy. Ah, dear. That's kind of how I see the left and right brain, you know. And I've said before, people can take certain herbs, you know, like Gotu Kola and Bacopa Monnieri, or Centella asiatica, that's Gotu Kola, Brahmi or Bacopa Monnieri. They balance your left and right side of your brain. I discovered this about 3 or 4 years ago. I discovered loads of stuff. I keep discovering stuff. But you know, I hardly talk about much, you know, all of it. I mean, apart from here on these videos, I talk about a lot of it on these videos. But I've given up talking to normal people I meet in the street. Nobody takes what I say seriously. But it works for me, you know. Anyway, I think I'm going to call this video, call the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Thumb up. Send me your gold Rolex. You know, buy me a Rolls Royce. You know, that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye.